A weather alert and those blizzard conditions moving in overnight. While it looks and feels like spring right now in Colorado Springs on this camera from the KRDO studios, big changes are moving in. Several inches of snow and blinding hurricane force winds expected by mid-morning. And the farther north you go, the worse it gets. We're joined now by Storm Tracker 13 Chief Meteorologist Mary Matthews for more on the timing and intensity you can expect in your neighborhood. Mary.
Yeah, Bart, really beginning early Wednesday morning, northern El Paso County is going to start to feel the increase in winds, the changeover to snow anywhere between 6 o'clock to about 8 o'clock in the morning.
The storm moving in has the potential to bring blizzard conditions over the next 24 hours.
Starting with severe wind gusts overnight, what you're looking at is file footage from a storm that hit at the start of February 2016. We're showing you this one because this storm we are tracking tonight is shaping up to be very similar, only with the potential for even stronger winds. You could be seeing a lot of scenes like this where you live, especially for folks along the eastern plains, the Palmer Divide, and of course up into our higher elevation.
And then we'll start to see that change over to snow anywhere between 6 o'clock in the morning to about 8 a.m. for parts of Monument into Woodland Park. And then the really gusty winds start to kick in the latter portion of the morning and into the early afternoon hours, along with some heavier snow. So the two combined going to reduce visibility down to about 1/10 of a mile. Alongside with that, we're also going to have some pretty slick conditions out there as well.
So we're seeing blizzard conditions, those blizzard warnings now in effect for El Paso County. This is a look in Monument at Highway 105 and I-25. And just within the last half hour here, we have lost almost all visibility. So it gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. Snow coming down in buckets over Monument Hill. When you combine that with the 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts we're seeing, that is really going to create some serious problems there.
Hello, I'm Shannon Bernius.
And I'm Rob Namdam. Here's I-25 and Monument. Trust me, it's I-25 and Monument. It's a complete whiteout. In fact, we've learned from CDOT that there's multiple crashes between Castle Rock and Monument Hill. Now, we don't want to tell you what to do, but we do want to stress that staying off the roads, especially north of Colorado Springs, is a good idea.
You've been watching the Strahan and Sarah show, but we interrupted now to bring you more of our storm mode coverage. This blizzard is no joke. It is here, arriving in downtown Colorado Springs.
Sam, where are you and how are the road conditions?
Thank you. So right now we're on I-25 southbound, just south of Castle Rock. And we were behind two CDOT vehicles that pulled off to the side of the road and that were closing the gates. So I-25 southbound, just south of Castle Rock, is now closed, even though we are still on that stretch. There's still a few vehicles left over that were right behind the CDOT vehicles before they closed the gates, but they have since closed I-25 southbound. And it's pretty obvious to see why. Visibilities are absolutely terrible. You cannot see the road at all. There's a lot of blowing and drifting. There was at one point a few accidents, a few slide-offs on I-25 northbound and I-25 southbound towards Larkspur and also Monument. And we were getting word from the sheriff that we were talking to at a gas station in Castle Rock that there was an 18 to 20 car pileup on the I-25 southbound lanes right at the county line, about 2 miles into Douglas County. So the 18 to 20 car pileup is in the southbound lanes just into Douglas County. So you got to be careful there. Make sure to avoid that spot. From the mobile storm tracker, I'm meteorologist Sam Postich. Back to you.
Welcome back to KRDO News Channel 13, the network of KRDO, and you are watching and listening to extended coverage because we understand a number of people are stranded on I-25. This shows the area where the State Patrol has blocked off I-25. This is at Toma Road, and you can see that State Patrol officer guiding people onto the frontage road there. We're giving you extended coverage, not just here on air, but on our live stream on krdo.com, which you can get through our weather app, as well on KRDO News Radio. We thank you for listening and watching. In the meantime, we're trying to bring you the best information that we can to our full team of reporters that are out.
Here's a look at I-25 right now. We are seeing slowdowns in either direction, and I was trying to get some of the CDOT cameras, and this is the best I could find because the CDOT website is currently down due to an influx of people trying to view the webpage all at once. But this is a look at some of the conditions on I-25 over Monument Hill right now, so keep that in mind.
And it looks like Mayor John Suthers is up at the emergency management briefing, and let's listen in to what he has to say.
Major weather incident that we've had since the consolidation of the county and the city offices of emergency management.
I have a device here that actually measures how fast the wind goes, and it's hard for me to even talk. The wind is actually taking my breath away, and we've gotten upwards of 42.
The State Patrol is really not letting you leave the city. It seems like visibility down to about 100 feet at times. The winds are making things incredibly problematic. There's been multiple people I've talked to at gas stations that are in tears because they can't get down to Colorado Springs where they need to go to see family, and people seem to be coming to a standstill and just hanging out at gas stations almost because there's nowhere else to go.
We want to give you information about a power outage and multiple power outages that are right now affecting customers of Colorado Springs utilities. The most recent one affecting about 2,400 power customers. That's off East Fillmore Street. So if you're driving in that area or any of the areas with spot outages, we should tell you, you come to an intersection, you're not going to see the lights going like they normally do. Make sure you follow the rules of the road, treat it like a four-way stop. But we're hoping that you don't have to go out in conditions like these. This is no joke. This is a serious blizzard, and we are continuing to bring you extended coverage here on KRDO Channel 13.
Again, good dose of moisture for Colorado, but unfortunately it is causing a lot of issues, especially considering, wow, we're getting wind reports right now of 97 miles per hour in Colorado Springs. We're going to have to verify that, but this wind gust showing 97 miles per hour. I cannot stress enough how serious this is. Please get away from your windows, get to an interior room of your home, because again, this will take down trees, power lines, as we have been seeing. So on that note, we're going to send things to Mary Matthews, our chief meteorologist here. She's been tracking some of those wind reports and has more.
Yeah, that was the latest report we had coming in. That is an official report from the National Weather Service office, so they have just verified that 96-mile-an-hour gust. So that is coming through correct. We have some other reports coming in about 82-mile-an-hour gust there in Truckton.
We were just in Castle Rock, and we were at the King Soopers talking to a few people, and the King Soopers was actually out of power. The power was out at the grocery store, so they're closing down. And nearly every business in that little shopping complex that we were at was closed. The Subway was closed, nail salons closed, everything was closed in Castle Rock, all the businesses that I saw. And so we're trying everything we can to get back into Colorado Springs to head south from Castle Rock, and it is nearly impossible, if not completely impossible. So right now, we're trying to merge onto 83 southbound, and we're at a dead standstill. Even though 83 is technically still open, from all the reports that I've seen, it might as well be closed because the traffic is absolutely not moving. I haven't seen any cars going north on 83. So it seems like there might be an accident somewhere, or traffic is just completely stopped.
Tom Isley is stuck near Larkspur in the southbound lanes of I-25. How long have you been there, Tom? We understand 2 hours. He called us wondering if we had any information on when he might be moving again.
Yeah, I've been sitting here for about 2 hours now. I can see one vehicle in front of me, and occasionally I can see the other three in front of them. But as it sits right now, it's pretty close to a complete whiteout. I can barely see the black VW in front of me. And we've all been just kind of sitting here trying to figure out what's going on.
I know that some of those pileups we've seen already, especially up in the Greenland Road exit area, where anywhere from probably 25 to 50 cars are just sitting there, you know, bumper to bumper, waiting to get rescued right now. Sitting there, snow's piling up. If you're hearing this on the radio, just keep an eye on that tailpipe. Again, you may not know it's actually backing up into your car because it's such a slow buildup, but keep the windows cracked every now and then. Check your tailpipes and you know, do the best you can to keep yourself safe however you can. Are they looking at being in their cars until realistically 5, 6 o'clock tonight, till conditions really get to that level? Or are we talking 9, 10 o'clock before the plows can get out, before the wreckers can get out and pull them to safety?
I think later this evening they may be able to get out and really start to relieve some of those people that are stuck. But here for the next 4 to 5 consecutive hours, I would say that's going to be very risky, kind of a slippery slope, because we're just now enduring the next 2 to 3 hours our peak winds.
We're hearing of multiple spinouts on the roads, no matter if they're major thoroughfares or side roads. One person caught in that is our own Stephanie Sierra. She had a crash along Fillmore near I-25, unfortunately. She sent us this report. It's very hard to hear her audio simply because of those strong winds. Take a listen.
It is complete whiteout conditions, as you can see. It is so horrible. I myself hit some black ice and slid the KRDO car here off the side of the interstate. As you can see, it was so bad. And the scariest part is you really, I mean, as you can see, you just can't see anything at all. But you really can't see the car in front of you, which is what happened to me. It was so dangerous. And cars were swerving around. I was just on the other side on the northbound lanes about 25 minutes ago, and there was a 5-vehicle crash. And some people were injured in that crash. That was right along the Rock Rimmon exit.
We talked about some safety messages a second ago. El Paso County just tweeted out some really good tips for stranded motorists. We know there are a lot of you out there likely listening to KRDO News Radio right this second. Here are a couple of quick tips that may just come in really handy for a lot of you. Run the engine about 10 minutes per hour to keep the vehicle warm. Open a window about an inch while the engine is running. Even if your tailpipe is clear, you can still get that backflow of exhaust just idling there. Also, check your exhaust pipe. We've talked about that. Conserve your cell phone battery for emergency use only. Remember, even if the car's off and you have it plugged in, it's going to drain your battery, so be careful doing that. Call back with an update every hour until help arrives, just to make sure emergency responders know that you're still there. Use whatever you have in your vehicle to keep warm. Hopefully you have some blankets, but if you're a first timer out there, you may not. Be creative in keeping warm. Don't leave your vehicle. Remember, every time you open the door, let some warm air out. So if you don't have to leave your vehicle, don't. And obviously there may be other vehicles around you trying to move. You don't want to get caught in the middle of that. And finally, just stay with your vehicle until help arrives. You don't want to try and walk it. You may think you're half a mile or so from the next gas station, but it may be a lot more. And these conditions, you don't want to be out in the elements any more than you have to.
Frostbite is a real danger as well.
Yeah.
You know, with cold temperatures like that, you add in the wind, you're looking at temperatures that are very cold.
Sure.
Sadly, another reminder, if you happen to see these emergency workers on the side of the road, you must slow down and move over. Remember that move over law was enacted several years ago. This was after. We just got an alert from city officials here in Colorado Springs that up to 500 people might be stranded in their cars. And that's just within city limits. That's not including county or Teller County down into Fremont, Canyon City, Pueblo. That is just here in Colorado Springs proper, 500 people. So if you're thinking, wow, where is everyone? Where is the help coming? Well, they will eventually get to you, but unfortunately you are in there for the long haul. You might be stranded there for hours.
But what we are dealing with here, some pretty powerful wind gusts. I tell you, I walked outside. I am having a hard time standing right now. That's how strong these winds are, and they're coming right out of the north here, but it's blowing the snow in such a way to where it just stings.
We're talking about earlier, sustained winds 30 to 40 miles per hour with embedded gusts 97. So a possible all-time record here for Colorado Springs for this day in history, with the last day, I believe, being in 2017. So very strong storm here. The area of low pressure, look how much that's moved. That is now just east of the Kansas border. So that has moved quite a bit here over the last hour or so, but we're still enduring the left side of that storm, so we're still getting those very strong counterclockwise winds all coming out of the north. Current wind gusts right now 60 to 70 miles per hour. You have to think about it. You get a severe thunderstorm, moves over the area, it moves in, it moves out, 70 mile per hour gust, but only hangs around for a few minutes. You get a prolonged period of sustained winds 30 to 40 miles per hour with gusts this high, and the ground being so saturated, as Bart was talking about before. It's exactly right. It just loosens those trees up, especially dead limbs, anything like that that can come down on power lines. It's going to create a problem.
We're still holding it down here in Teller County. We're here at Woodland Park, and I'm not up to my chest yet, but with the way the snow keeps coming in, I might be soon. But we wanted to show you just how bad some of these snowdrifts are. We're in the parking lot, or here at the gas station, and they came through and plowed the left side of the gas station, but these right lanes, they did not plow it at all. And I just wanted to show you how deep some of these snowdrifts are as my boot completely sinks into it. Now this is some of the dangerous parts that you could be seeing, especially out on the roads with this snow blow and the way it is.
Another Colorado State patrol trooper was killed, Cody Donahue, just south of Castle Rock. Sadly, again, this man died during this storm today. So just another reminder, if you happen to be out, do keep in mind those emergency workers are there for your help. There's nothing that's too important that you can't be late for.
Yeah, Bart, a lot more damage. Those heavy winds aren't just up in Colorado Springs. They're definitely down here in Pueblo as well, creating some serious damage to some residents here in Pueblo. Check this out right behind me. This tree completely uprooting and just caving in the front portion of this home, the front portion of the roof, its deck. I spoke with people who were actually inside, or one person who was actually inside of the home when this tree completely uprooted and took some of the concrete with it. A woman was inside the kitchen when the tree fell on top of the home. She says when she heard it, it sounded like a bomb or possibly an earthquake when it landed on top of her home. Nobody is safe from these strong winds, especially here in Pueblo County. They continue to hit us very strong, 70, 75 mile per hour wind gusts. Right now, we've seen power lines, we've seen trees, we've seen a lot of debris through the air. So be careful if you're walking, and especially if you're driving. You never know what's going to pop up with these wind gusts.
A state of emergency across Colorado tonight. The March blizzard crippling travel and stranding thousands of drivers in hurricane force winds and blizzard conditions.
At this hour, thousands in southern Colorado are without power as crews struggle to clear the roads before the snow freezes. Thanks for joining us for this special hour-long edition of KRDO News Channel 13 at 6. I'm Bart Bedsole.
And I'm Heather Skold. As we've done throughout the day, we are continuing to track the impacts of this massive winter storm that has essentially shut down parts of the state.
Today's blizzard blasting parts of Colorado. Some of the state's busiest highways are still closed at this hour as the raging storm brings heavy snow and slippery conditions. Dozens of drivers are stranded, and a lot of accidents were reported on roads along Interstates 25 and 70.
And we have team coverage for you tonight as hundreds of vehicles are indeed stranded in El Paso County. It is taking several hours for responders to reach all of them.
The raging storm was caused by a sudden and severe drop in air pressure called a bomb cyclone. Our Storm Tracker 13 team predicted the storm for days, but some people underestimated it and wound up stranded.
And so right now, more than 1,100 people are stranded in El Paso County alone. That also includes the city of Colorado Springs. If you are or someone you know is stranded, unless it's a matter of life and death, do not call 911. If you leave your car to walk, they're telling us make sure you leave a number in a place that is visible to first responders so they can indeed reach you.
Here's Chase Golightly with more.
Well, right now, more than 18,000 people are without power across southern Colorado, with outages reported through Mountain View Electric and Colorado Springs Utilities. That 18,000 just from Mountain View alone. From Colorado Springs Utilities, they are reporting 3,800 outages, 3,800 customers. So really, when you do the head count, it amounts to a lot more than that. Here you see their outage map, and a lot of those with the yellow warning lights, well, that is actually from either downed tree limbs on top of power lines or even power lines themselves that have gone down. Crews are able to get to those areas now that the wind is starting to taper off, but do be patient as though those crews it'll take a little bit for those winds to die down for them safely to access the power lines, to get inside of those power buckets so that they can actually do the repairs necessary. So just hang tight. They are getting around to those service areas. No word yet on when all of the power will be restored.
Now, we weren't just witnesses to the road troubles today. One of our own crews got stranded, just as many of you did. Meteorologist Sam Postich and photojournalist Chapin Everett were stuck in Castle Rock for much of the day, then stranded at a gas station in Monument for much of the evening. They join us live there now. Sam, how are things looking up in that part of the area tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Bart. So right now I'm at the Come and Go in Monument, and many of us here were directed to this Come and Go by Emergency Management Services, telling us this is the place to go to stay safe. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone out there that has helped out saving people from stranded cars. There was a lot of cars off the sides of the road, and without the help of emergency management, you know, a lot of those people would still be stranded, but many are safe because those out risking their lives to save those that were in need. So a big shout out to emergency management crews. And I was actually wanting to thank the Tri-Lakes Fire Department and also a few Good Samaritans that helped me dig out the mobile storm tracker on Highway 105 close to Highway 83. We were stuck in a big snowdrift, and the Tri-Lakes Fire Department really helped us out, and we actually ran into a similar story from a woman here at the Come and Go. Check it out.
My day has been very stressful. Stuck on the interstate 6 hours and brought here by a fireman and said I had to stay here because I couldn't get home because I live up on the mountain. Well, they were wonderful. I mean, every opportunity they had to stop by the cars and talk to us, they were doing that. And also, speaking of that, we can thank these people here for helping us.
Yeah, and I just want to also thank all the state patrol, all the fire department workers, all of the police officers that were out today in these conditions. And even though the snow has started to let up, the wind is still blowing pretty good, and the roads, I haven't seen a ton of improvement. And it does seem like it's possible that we're staying the night at this Come and Go up in Monument, but no worries. We're nice and warm and safe here. So big thank you to everyone out there. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, Sam, glad you guys are safe and sound there tonight, but still a lot of drifts there, even up in Monument at that Come and Go gas station. Thanks so much, you guys.
Welcome back. We're still in storm mode, and we're still dealing with the aftermath of the blizzard, which left more than 1,000 drivers stranded yesterday.
Well, Hannah, we're on Voyager Parkway just off of North Academy, and I just want you to take a look. This is such a telling sign of the severity of the storm yesterday. This car that you see behind me, it's not parked on the side of the road. It is left stranded in the middle of Voyager Parkway. Cars are having to go around each side of it. And this is just the start of it. Let's walk, if I walk over this way and show you down here, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a semi all stuck on the side of the road, left stranded with no place to go. This is just a crazy visual and really something else. When you look at this, that's how bad the storm hit, especially here in northern Colorado Springs. And as I mentioned, that gate is still closed because you cannot get through, only commercial vehicle access only, as I mentioned. But here is what I was talking about. Semis, a handful of semis still here stuck on North Academy. No word on whether they're going to be able to get through or not, but that on-ramp here at exit 150 is still completely covered and completely snow drifted. So only time will tell, and patience is key here.
Another big problem we're seeing is what's happening right here in front of us. We're stopped, and it's because someone in front of us is towing their car out of part of the ditch, and that's exactly what people across the city don't want you to do right now. It's going to block traffic, so if there's traffic behind us and they're trying to brake, there's a chance they could slip and end up in the ditch themselves, just causing more and more abandoned cars. So that's why they're asking people to wait until tomorrow and hope that they can get their cars out.
I want to walk and show you. We're standing on the off-ramp, but take a look at the snow drifts here. You see some people trying to dig out their cars because all these abandoned vehicles were stuck here overnight.
I've been following a crew with All Seasons Tree Services all morning, and this is the second stop of the day in the Eiler Heights neighborhood. The first stop, a tree landed on top of a garage. This one appears to be balancing on top of a home. Another uprooted tree. Unfortunately, this one landed on top of the roof, completely demolishing the back end of this home. Fortunately, no one was injured.